Hey everybody, it's Doug Schauf with the Make Maine Your Home team over at Remax Oceanside. How are you? Hey, I'm going live here for our weekly live real estate market update for what's happening in Maine. You know, obviously with all the news out there and everything, we get tons of questions on what's happening in the market, what's going on, what do you think's going to happen with the market. That's a lot of questions that we got to get, and on a weekly basis we try to answer those questions a little bit. I'll tell you a little bit about what's happening with interest rates and a couple other things, and then also talk to you about like some of our buyers that need properties badly, and we'll kind of fill you in on a few things there. So first thing, how's the market going? What's happening? It's all about inventory right now. There's not a whole lot on the market. If you're thinking at all about selling, I understand you might be sitting on like a low interest rate. You might not, be looking to sell, because you don't have a place to go, those types of things. But if you're all thinking about making a move or you want to make a move, it's a great time to sell right now. It really is. And honestly, it's also a great time to buy because interest rates are starting to creep down a little bit. They're off their peak, but homeownership is really a great thing in this country, and it's a good time to buy. But there are just not a lot of listings out there, not a lot of houses to look at. If you're even sort of looking at what's on the market, that right away when you go jump online, you're like, what's for sale? There's not a whole lot. And that's really what's driving the train right now, is because supply is so low. Demand is there because when the interest rates went way up last year, they went to 7 or even a little bit above 7. Everybody pulled back and they're like, oh my gosh, that interest rate's way too high. But now that they've creeped down a little bit, the shock is over with. So the demand is coming back a little bit, but the supply is just way too low. So supply and demand is not in sync right now. Houses are selling within days. We're starting to see multiple offers again. We're starting to see prices get driven up again in a lot of areas, a lot more areas than we did even just a few months ago. So that's really what's happening in the market right now. It's all about inventory. So again, if you're at all thinking about making a move, it might be worth a conversation now to see what you can get, and maybe even consider a crazy offer from somebody, because we have a lot of buyers that just need houses. It's a need. Like, people need to move. They've already accepted jobs here. People are coming to this state to live and work, and there's just no place to live, to purchase a home, and that's a problem. So if you are at all thinking about selling, let me know, or reach out to whatever broker preferably us, but let us know. Now, the next thing I want to talk about was the interest rate. They've been kind of going up and down here recently. The cool thing is if you go on Google and just type in mortgage interest rate, it kind of gives you a great little, Google tool there. I'm not sure exactly where they're pulling the data, but it's like the average interest rates. It's up in the high 6s, but we're forecasted to, at some point this year to be back down around 6, maybe even the high 5s. If that does happen, demand's going to go even higher. But right now they're kind of floating in that 6.5 to 7 range, floating around there, which is perfectly reasonable. Historically, that's a fine interest rate. We've just been kind of spoiled, unfortunately, over the last few years with extremely low interest rates. Now we're just back to normal as far as interest rates go, but that's about where they are. Interest rates also depend a lot on like what is your credit score, how much are you borrowing, all that kind of stuff. And the Google tool, or a lot of other tools, Zillow has a great like mortgage tool as well that kind of shows you like what your interest rate will be based on your credit score, what kind of price, and all that kind of stuff. So it does depend on a lot of things, but roughly what I've seen is that mid to high 6s right now. Again, it's not the best when you compare it to the last few years, but it's still an okay interest rate to live the dream and purchase a home and become a homeowner. So now, last thing I want to talk about, and then I'll let you guys go about your day, is buyer needs. We have a lot of buyers, but I'll try to pick out a few that are like, oh my God, I got to buy something. I talked a little bit about these last week. Unfortunately, we still haven't found houses for these people yet. A couple of you reached out to us to talk to us about either your house or just a house that you knew about, and I really appreciate that. So if you're watching this and you're listening to me and talk about some of the the buyer needs that we have, we'd love to hear from you. So I really appreciate it. Actually, I see a comment here. Are condos and townhomes also in short supply? Yes. Yeah. A comment here. Somebody was asking, are condos and townhomes also in short supply? The short answer is yes. across the board, there's really just not a lot of anything. If you're looking to purchase a home or a condo, there's not a lot out there. If you're looking to rent something, there's not a lot out there. Don't get me wrong. If you're in dire need and need to find a home, we can find you something in a reasonable time frame. We do a lot of things to do that. But we're not going to have you, homeless, so to speak. But yes, just about everything across the board is in short supply. And right now, like in this snapshot of the market, just about all areas are in high demand. We've seen, just a few months ago, we were seeing like only some areas were still getting bid up in multiple bids. And now we're seeing it back to like it was, beginning of last year when it was just crazy market. Everything's kind of getting bid up and all that stuff. But yes, condos and townhomes are in short supply. And we have a lot of buyers that want those as well. So let's see. A couple things that we need. Let's see. We have this great couple moving here. They've already sold their house and out of state, and they're looking to come in here and they want to be here ASAP. They can be flexible though, so it's not like we need to, if you're thinking about selling that we need to walk out the door right this second. We can accommodate anybody. But if you know anybody in the Cape, Scarborough, Falmouth, Yarmouth area, their budget is pretty high. They can go up as high as between 1.5 and 2 million. They know that they don't necessarily want or need to be on the water, but they just need a decent sized house to work from home and raise their family, all that kind of stuff. But if you know of anybody that lives in those towns, we would love to talk to them. Just, even if I could just introduce myself and say, hey, do you know anybody? Let's see. Another young couple. They are looking in South Portland, the greater Portland area. They maybe go down to Saco Biddeford out to Westbrook, but they want to try to stay as close to Portland as possible. Their budget is under $400,000, which is a tough budget with the way the market is, because there's a lot of competition in that. But if you do know of anybody that lives in a good smaller house neighborhood, I'd love to talk to them as well. Let me see, who else do we got on here? Let's see. The last ones I'll talk about is, speaking of condos and townhomes, we have somebody that is looking for either a condo or a townhouse, or like a house minimum would be great. One of those, it's almost like a single family house, but in a condo, like association type thing. They would love to be in like Saco Biddeford area. They would look at Scarborough as well. I don't know if they'd go out to like Arundel and stuff like that, but they're really kind of honing in the Saco Biddeford area. So if you know anything there, that'd be great. Anyway, we got a lot of others. And actually we did just have a condo up in Freeport hit the market this week. And we have a couple other things coming on the market. So, if you're out there and you're struggling with this real estate market and want to talk more about it, hit me up, comment below. Give me a call or send me an email. Make sure you hit subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching. And remember, if you make Maine your home, you don't have to do it alone.